Hello and welcome to Coding with Stephen. Today we're going to cover our Hello World challenge, which is under our basics section for our JavaScript challenges. What we've got up here in front of us is the repo that contains all of the challenges. I'll post a link to the GitHub repo in the video description, which will give you a whole bunch of instructions on downloading everything, getting your environment set up so that it looks exactly like what you see in front of you here, and so that you can get started. First things first, we'll find the challenge that we want to work through. In our case, it's going to be the Hello World challenge. Each challenge will come with a set of instructions, which will give you an idea of what the challenge encompasses, what the expected outcomes are for the challenge, and there'll also be a helpful command here to run for running the tests associated with the challenge. Each challenge will come with a set of tests just to help show that the code that you've written works and has the expected outcome that we're expecting. What you'll find is there's three files. There's just a JavaScript file, which will contain the function that we need to work on, the test file, which will give us a bit of an idea as to what our code will need to do in order to pass the test, and then the instructions. I'd always recommend having a look at the instructions first, just reading through it. For this particular challenge, it's a fairly basic one, and all we're going to need to do is make the function that we have, the hello world function, return a string that contains the words hello world. What we're going to do first is just run the tests that we have available here, and the reason behind that is we want to be able to see what happens when we first run the test, to be able to give us a bit of an idea as to what we're going to need to do. So I'll run the test with the command. The tests have failed, which is kind of expected, and the reason is that we expected to receive the string here, hello world, but what we actually did is we received undefined. So what we'll do is we'll just head over to the hello world JavaScript file, and we'll take a look at this function. So we're going to write our code in between these two curly braces here, and within JavaScript, strings, which are one of the kind of core types of JavaScript, along with numbers, objects, and a couple of other special types like null and undefined. Strings are typically represented in one of three ways: either double quotes, single quotes, or backticks. Double quotes, you can just put anything you like in here. I'm a string. Single quotes, typically I use these if I'm going to have double quote marks within them. So we'll just hello there, and what will happen when this string is printed out is it'll actually have the double quotes around it. And backticks are a special type of string where you can pass in things into the string to be printed out, but we'll cover that in depth in a further challenge. So for the sake of this, we know what we need to do. We need to get the function to return this string containing hello world. So what we'll do is we'll just write out our string hello world, and within JavaScript, return is a special keyword, and what that does is that says to the function, when you get to this particular line here, I want you to return whatever is after the return keyword. So in this case, it wants it to return hello world, and what that means is that anything that you do after, like if we were to try and log something out, it won't actually ever get to here, because when the function is run, it'll just get to here and return that value, and that this will never be reached. So for the purposes of this test, what we'll do is we'll save this so that we've got it returning hello world. Go back to our tests in our terminal, rerun the tests, and we should have some passing tests, which is a good start. These, it doesn't matter whether these are single quotes, double quotes, or the backticks. each of those test cases will pass. So what you're going to want to do is just going to want to fill in your function so that it returns to the hello world here, save it, run your tests, and once those are passing, you're all done.